As a certified life coach, I have a mission for my clients, and that is to identify and remove roadblocks from your path to personal success. And now it's about time I did the same for myself. My current roadblock is the massive pile of excuses I've made up not to launch a podcast, because everyone is doing it, being one of them. A topic I am particularly passionate about is attachment styles and how I can get to know myself better. In this podcast, you'll tag along the journey of me identifying where my anxious attachment came from, how it's manifesting itself in my life, and how I can, with knowledge, become a more secure version of myself. I pray you'll find it insightful, helpful, and occasionally funny. Welcome to Becoming Secure with Nike's Mindset.
The previous episode was tough. I remember sitting in my room when this was all real-time realizations, and it was like a major bubble on my own reality of life that had just burst. It is really a humbling experience to see your own life flash before your eyes through the lens of an adult, and finally get a sense of empathy for yourself. You finally understand that little child inside of you are really hurt, but finally seen and acknowledged. It makes sense now. Suddenly you begin growing a sense of respect for yourself and for how strong you have been. You begin patting yourself on the back for having pushed through all of these years and still never given in to the pressure. I am so proud and I feel so strong, yet I have moments till this day where it feels like I'm going to fall apart. The following recording is a phone call between my best friend Arena and I. I wanted to capture the realness of life with you, how it gets messy, and sometimes you just need a good reflective vent with your best friend. I am so lucky to have a friend like Arena, so I wanted to give you guys a glimpse of what my insecurities look like today and some of the battles that I am still facing in my present life.
Alright, but anyway, okay. So the breakdown kind of started as I was like getting ready this morning. Well, 2 minutes ago. Because I'm gonna go to my grandpa. And obviously I love my grandpa and I love spending time there, and he's just so sweet and so supportive. There's like no one who's a bigger fan of me than my grandpa, you know?
What do you mean? What about me?
Well, you know what I mean. Don't make this a competition.
Okay.
Point is like, okay, you and my grandpa, biggest fans. However,
There you go.
now I'm seeing my grandpa, and
Yeah.
it's just like I have so much anxiety in my chest, like having to like go back there again when like the last time I was there, like I spent the past year, like after cutting contact with Christian and before going to Greece, like I spent so many days a week just hanging out with my grandpa and his wife, and it's just been lovely. You know, they've been such a massive support for me.
Yeah.
But it's just something about like the last time I was there, I was like more or less kind of chanting how I finally met the man and the guy, and that like I'm just gonna go back to the US for a while and figure it out financially, and then I'll come back and get married or whatnot, you know? And I just
Okay.
have so much anxiety in my chest knowing that like I'm going back there and I'm just nowhere close to that goal. Like I'm just back to square one, it feels like. And yesterday when I was recording an episode, when I was kind of going through like my upbringing and like friendship dynamics and like the fact that like well obviously I never really had a friend group and all of that, you know, like it was just kind of a toxic environment to grow up in, to no fault of the children of course, but like that's just how it was environmentally. And I just feel like I have some unresolved trauma with Norway. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And I kind of thought like it was all connected to like generational trauma within my own family. You know, like that, like it was my household or whatever that I needed to like make peace with. And now that I've made peace with that, like obviously things feel better and things are better, and I am happier in my family, you know, after all of the fruitful conversations that we've had as a family. But there's still like a big part of me that is terrified of settling down here. And I think it's deeply rooted in me being scared that my children would be raised in a similar environment that I was.
Wow. Okay.
And and it's, yeah, it's a little bit like, because when I'm home, like at the same time as I'm like, I feel so reminded of everything that I don't have, what that I want, you know, and
Right.
also like looking around, and I see people that I grew up with, and they're getting engaged, they have children, and they have their own
Mm-hmm.
families, and it's so beautiful. And a part of me is like, have I just been running this whole time? And therefore, I'm not getting to the finish line because I just
Mm,
never really made peace with where I came from because I was always just venturing out, you know? Like,
mm,
more or less, I don't know. I don't want to call it running intentionally because I haven't been intentionally running. I'm just trying to find my place, you know? And
right.
then I kind of did find my place in the US in 477, but 477
Yeah,
isn't 477 anymore. So
of
now I kind
course.
of feel a little lost again. And as
Mm-hmm.
like I'm laughing, but I'm like, fuck.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just rambling. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. How can I best show up for you right now?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I don't think you're running. Like
You don't think I'm running?
I recognize what you're saying about Norway, and that you probably haven't made peace with that because if you remember, I had a similar feelings or reservations towards Russia.
Right,
And then I was like, well, fuck it. Like, I can make it anywhere and I
right,
can have a good time and, make it work and make myself happy no matter where I'm at. And
right,
that happened this summer where, like, my idea of my future was so attached to one place. And now, for me, I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter all that much because I want to live in the woods anyway.
right,
But um, but I mean, like, yeah, of course there are places that are better, or better fitted for a person than others. Like, I do recognize, I actually thought about it this morning that um, I'm I am the same person while I'm here, but at the same time I'm not.
right.
Because even choices that I'm making on a daily basis are not as healthy as the choices I make when I'm away from this place,
Oh my God, I relate so bad to this.
and
Yeah.
my mindset is not as um healthy as it is when I'm in New York and because I do believe that like in America we are surrounded by pretty positive mindset people regardless of, just the narrative is different
Yeah, you're
as
right.
opposed to like Norway or Russia especially.
Yeah. No,
But,
you're right.
at the same time, like I don't think you were running. I mean, maybe yes, maybe to an extent you were running away and there is nothing wrong with that because, any movement of your body, any reaction is a good reaction. Like you are trying to protect yourself, right? Like you are trying to create a better life for yourself, a better future. And there's like we were so young when we made those choices
That's
to
true.
venture out. And that was we had no knowledge of what we know now,
True.
and we had no tools to really evaluate what does it mean. Like both, in sense of like how that will affect our life in the long run, that yeah we are not settled, and yes there are going to be people who stayed where we were, and now they have like they're pregnant with their second babies and stuff and buying apartments. Well, that's not the life that we have chosen for ourselves for now. And there is nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that we're never going to have this life. I
Yeah,
think that everything unfolds exactly as it should be. And like you and I would not be talking if we made different choices in life.
that's
Like
true.
this conversation would not be happening.
That's
And in
true.
fact, your own interrogation of self probably will not be happening if you didn't make the choices that you made.
Oh my goodness, thank you for reminding me of that. Of course, I couldn't walk through life without my best friend, and obviously, I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for venturing out. So,
Well, yeah, but also like, I doubt that like a podcast would be happening, or, you know, maybe you will go would have gone through your entire life not even knowing about attachment styles. Maybe
right.
you would have gone through your entire life just, being fucking toxic asshole that you used to be. With like,
No, but it's true. You're not wrong.
yeah, you
Oh
never know.
man. Yeah.
So I understand the frustration that like you're not where you want to be, but in reality, like it's just its own path. Like everyone has their own path.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own like timing of things and all of that.
Yeah. No,
So
you're
it's just a
right.
process. Of course I'm right. I'm always right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know why it's just so much like shame attached to it all. It's like the mo like
It's I
when
think I think it's the environment also,
right.
because there are all these expectations that are played. Like I doubt that when you are in the US, you feel the pressure as much as you do when you are back home.
Yeah, no,
And
you're
correct
right.
me if I'm wrong, because, it's like, once again, the narrative there is different. It's less of that, the women are like pushing back more, and, everyone, or like more people recognize that not not like two paths are the same.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some truth to that. When I'm in the US, like obviously now that I'm back at my job, like I'm working a lot, so I get kind of preoccupied with traveling and being on client side and just kind
Yeah,
of grinding, which I love, I love that.
right,
Um and but like obviously like I have this thought in the back of my head that like I do want to end up in Norway. Um At least I think I do. I mean,
right,
logically, it makes sense to want to go home eventually. I mean, that makes sense. Also because I'm trying to think of like, I mean, this is where the double-edged sword is like so obvious to me right now because it's like yes, as much as I want to end up in Norway because I think that raising children in the US would just be like illogical just because it's like so
okay,
expensive. It's not the infrastructure of the country is just not supporting wanting to
right,
have like a family dynamic that I do simultaneously as I'm terrified of going home to raise my children in the same environment that I grew up in. But it's like, it's
right.
not even that it was so bad or so toxic. It's just that, like, man, how can you even protect children from children? I don't know. Like, obviously, like,
Well,
yeah,
you just try to create a trusting relationship between you and your child, so
yeah,
so
yeah,
they tell
no,
you if something goes wrong.
right. But it's like, I wonder. why, like, because you met my mom, you know how my mom is. My mom is incredible. It's not like she
Right.
created a space where it wasn't, well, in certain elements, of course. Like, I remember being like, this is kind of funny coincidence because I just lived in Crete, and my best friend and I, we like at the time we were traveling with my mom to like go to Crete. We were like
Oh,
13, maybe, and I remember she showed me like this newspaper where it was like on the front page, like young children are watching porn or whatever. And she
oh my,
showed us
yeah.
that newspaper and she was like, this is not allowed. You guys are not allowed to do this kind of thing. And I'm like,
Hmm.
and little do you know that
Well,
I've been sexually active my entire life. You know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah,
but so why did I never like, well, I guess that's part of why I didn't tell her, I suppose, like
right,
because I thought I'd be scolded for it because it kind of came
yeah,
with a tone of like, but obviously she was just scared. She wasn't
of
trying to scold
course,
me. She was just like, "Oh my God, I want to
yeah,
protect my child." But like
right,
she didn't know that I had already been so exposed to things that I probably
right.
shouldn't have been exposed to at the age that I
Well,
was.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have, but you know,
So it's like, yeah, and but obviously today I have a fantastic relationship with my mom, and
yeah,
I tell her everything, and it's not like I
yeah,
think I'm a failure either. It's just, and it's not even that I feel like I'm later than anyone else because maybe I am very developed in other areas that other people aren't. I don't
right.
know. I'm just speculating. But yeah.
Well, I, for one, don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with you, if that is of
Thank
any
you.
relief.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a relief.
But yeah, no, I totally understand your feelings. And, what I would invite you to interrogate is the feeling that you've been describing that you had this morning, like this anxiety in your chest. You describe it as anxiety, but is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess it's also like I'm
Because
tired of
everything
having
what
these
you,
conversations, kind of like where I
yeah,
come home and I have to justify like
well,
why I was left
everything,
again, kind of. Well, not
yeah,
why I was
well,
left, but like, yeah, I'm
you,
ashamed, like I'm a little bit
that's
ashamed
exactly
that
it.
I'm
There you
like,
go.
I'm ashamed that I haven't gotten further. Like, obviously,
Right,
like I because I mean, it's not like I haven't tried to have great relationships and nurturing relationships and done my fair share of reading on love and commitment and how to make it
yeah,
work and reading on attachment style and understanding myself. And like, even with my most recent relationship, like, I just like knowing going into it that there's always going to be a risk of getting your heart broken. Like, I couldn't not do
right,
it just because there was a risk of getting your heart broken. Like, but of course, like at this point, I kind of hope that I had reached the finish line, as one does when one enter a relationship. So it's like
right,
this simultaneously as being kind of tired. It's also this like, oh man, because I mean personally, like obviously I know myself and I respect me and I love me and I am incredibly proud of everything that I have done and I have endured. But everyone
right,
else around me hasn't necessarily seen that process. So it's kind of like
right,
I fear other people's judgment and fear having to justify why I am where I currently am,
right.
knowing damn well where I want to be, like, but yeah.
Oh,
I feel
right.
like as a
Well, and
generation, we've been pushing the boundaries, like prior, before, like when our generations, like parents, when our parents' generation grew up, like it was normal to get married around 20, But we've
right,
been
yeah,
pushing
my
this.
mom had my brother when she was 21.
Yeah. And my
Can
mom
you
got married when
imagine
she was
myself?
19, you know? So
Like,
it's,
yeah,
kind of
the
like,
expectations were different.
right. And that is also like, I mean, it's not necessarily stressing me. And I know that, of course, I'll live a happy life and have a happy marriage and have children that are happy. Like, I don't doubt that all of this is going to happen for me. And it's not like I think I'll
Right.
have less time with that just because it's happening later. I can't necessarily control
Well,
that,
yeah. And, more time is not necessarily always better
right?
because, you know, you don't want to spend 24 hours, 7 days a week on a roller coaster? Do you? Like literally on an attraction and like, I don't know, Six Flags?
Oh,
I
I
would
thought
not
you meant
want
like,
that.
I thought you meant like you don't want to be in a
Well,
relationship that is a
metaphorically,
roller coaster.
I
Yeah,
mean, literally, but metaphorically too,
right.
right?
Yeah,
Because
no, for sure.
that's what happens. Like when we chose not well. And I do believe that certain things need to happen and be healed so you choose well. I mean, for me and for myself, like maybe some people do not need that, but maybe also some people do not have such high standards for themselves, which is not bad. I mean, it's just like different approach to living.
That's
And,
true.
you know, I I know what I want and I know what I um, and I like it takes work and it takes certain like knowing and adjusting, and especially considering that's, we may not have necessarily came up from the most healthy environment.
Right. No, you're right.
And maybe some other people had different things. And, I mean, just I don't know, were dealt better cards in one area or another, and then
Right.
some worse cards. And it's just like it's so unique. And I think what needs to be addressed here, what I'm hearing from what you're sharing, is that like the fear of other people judgment, and the fear of like the shame that you feel around the fact that you are not where you want to be. And I recognize that shame too. It's like it's in a different area of life for me, um, that shame, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm on my way. I'm doing things that will lead me to where I want to be.
I mean, I think you just healed my problem because you know what I just realized? The feeling
What?
that I am currently feeling is the feeling I always felt going to school, going to whatever like social event as like a teenager. Like that feeling of like not being what people expect you to be, or like
Yeah,
looking at you as something is like off with
less,
you,
right?
or that like yeah, it's just that like this feeling that I'm currently feeling and that I guess I quote unquote ran from or escaped from was this feeling of like coming
Yeah,
home and feeling like you're lesser than, or and it's
yeah,
like it's not like anyone, well, I guess that came from somewhere. I'm sure someone said something
right,
somewhere at some point, and it impacted me, or it had to do with like, obviously I know that a lot of people were talking about me behind my back. Like I know this. I also know that when I was in high school I was froze out, and for like, and it's not like I'm angry at any of those who froze me out. It's just the
right,
approach could have been different, but everyone is shy of conflict. Nobody wants to do the full confrontation, and it was just easier for them to freeze me out than to confront why they're freezing me out, because obviously that would have been
right,
informative for me to recognize like
right.
you have a certain behavior that push people away, like, okay, yeah, please let me know that so I can work on it. But like that
Yeah,
never happened. That conversation never took place. So I
right.
was always just kind of
Well,
left.
you're asking a lot of teenagers.
Huh? Well,
You
I
are
remember.
asking a lot of like from teenagers,
Right, right, yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, so like I don't actually know that I told you this story, but when I was in like, I guess it's the equivalent of high school, in the last year of high school, right before I like would go to university. um because going in there, I was a part of like this big girl squad. I think there was like 13, 14 of us or something in that girl group, but at the end of it I was the only one not in that friend group anymore. But we were all
Mm,
in the same class together. And I
yeah,
remember like, and all of so all of the girls were either in like a relationship with some of the boys in the class, or the boys were friends with the boys that was in relationship with the girls. Obviously, like I was
right.
just the odd one out. And it was
Ah, that
terrible. It
sucks.
was
Of course.
horrible. And I
Yeah,
remember
that
like my
sucks.
teacher would ask me like, how do you want to go about this situation, kind of, because she obviously could see it. And I was like, just put me alone in the middle of the classroom. Like I want to sit alone, but I want to be in the middle of the classroom. Like just do that so that I
Mhm.
don't feel so like isolated.
Yeah, Yeah.
And that worked out. And every time there was like recess, I would just go to a friend of mine in a parallel class. So it's like I've
Hmm.
managed to go through that. And obviously, like, simultaneously as all of these kind of friendship dynamics are like a struggle in my life, like I am happy because I am in my relationship with Ralph at the time, you know, like, so it's not like I was inherently unhappy all of these times, because I always had the solace of the relationship that I was in, because I was always in relationships.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not so clear, it's not so like black and white why I have felt this all along, but it's like when I go back and think about like the things that were happening simultaneously that caused anxiety in me, and made me feel lesser than, or made me feel as though there was something inherently wrong with me, like it wasn't just that, wasn't the only thing that was happening in my life. Like at the time I also had beautiful things that were happening in my life, you know. So
Right.
it's like that, I guess that's why it's so nuanced and not so directly easy to identify. But now that I'm talking about
Yeah.
it, I'm like, oh my gosh, of course, you know, like
Right.
of course you'd feel
Yeah.
some type of way because of that. And I feel like maybe that's the feeling that I always fear when like I come home, because I don't ever want to run into any of them. Or like if I run into
Right.
them, I don't know what I would do. But at the same time, like I will reach out in their DMs on Instagram when I see them posting their super cute babies and their families. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. You're like, because I genuinely am, you know. I'm not
Yeah, I
angry
believe that.
anymore. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not
Right.
mad anymore, but I recognize that all of that wounded me and shaped me and caused some sort of issue within me that kind of created this environment where I felt like I had to go elsewhere to find a sense of belonging. And
Right.
477
And
was
you
the testament
did.
of that. I did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. I really did.
And you know, like what you're describing is not foreign to me by any means.
Yeah,
Like I've
you can
had
relate
my
to it.
fair, oh, absolutely. I was
Oh my
like
gosh. Thank you for saying that.
isolated starting like, I don't know, middle school probably.
Oh my goodness.
And similar with like, was a part of a group of girls and then wasn't. And
Right.
it's it's been a lot to grow up like that. And I don't want to go into all the details right now, like of
No, it's okay.
my experience that is similar, but what is interesting is that the outcome of a feeling for me is different. Like I I'm not afraid to run into them. I'm not like I'm so fucking proud of who I've become.
Mm.
And, I should probably not say that, but like I do feel that sometimes that like I'm better like than you all, and
Right.
well,
Yeah.
because like I think that's, I like I have such a vast experience of life that it like inevitably shapes you in a better person just because you understand more about life and about like how the world works, and you have more empathy. And well, at least I that's how it worked out for me. I cannot speak for everyone, but it's kind of like it doesn't bother me, like they do not scare me anymore,
All right.
like
Yeah. No, I definitely feel the same. I definitely don't feel intimidated or scared by like the majority of them. There are certain people that I genuinely don't necessarily need to see, or feel
right.
like there's some unresolved stuff, which is a conversation for another day. Obviously, you know this full story, but like we'll talk about it
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
recorded capacity another day. But yeah, I definitely, because obviously like there's no one person that can help me overcome this. It's not like I can
Right.
reach out to any of these and be like, hey, why did you do that? You know, like it doesn't matter.
Well,
What
I
matters
mean,
is how I change the narrative in my head and are no longer
right.
afraid of
Yeah.
um yeah, coming back and building a life here, and trusting myself to be a good parent and create an environment that is safe for my child, and also
Right.
recognize that I can't control everything that they might be exposed to that I have no control
Right.
over, but
Yeah.
recognize that I can still be a supportive asset and someone that my children can rely on. So
Yeah.
it always goes back to me and what can I do, it's not
Mm-hmm.
about finding answers in other people, because I know that's not the way, that's not what I'm trying to accomplish
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely do feel like I made some headway. This morning I was praying because, well, I do every morning I pray. But like I was praying because I was like, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I definitely feel some type of way about being home. I feel like a scatterbrain, and I need some guidance. Just help me, like, have the conversations that need to be had, help me find the right words, and help me communicate effectively so that I can understand myself better. And I thoroughly felt like my prayer was heard simply with this conversation. So thank you so much for taking the time to let me vent to you. I love you so
Yeah.
much.
I love you so much. Anytime.
I don't know how many of you related to this conversation at all, or if anyone even got anything productive out of this. But if anything, I hope that it proves that a lot of pressure can be relieved through conversation. Having someone to talk to is incredibly valuable because sometimes life gets really tough and we don't necessarily have to hold it all inside. It's like your grocery bag is never going to get empty unless you take out all of the groceries. You're going to feel heavy when you continue to carry everything on the inside. And sometimes just talking to someone and putting words to your emotions or just releasing is actually a great, great way to heal and let go and to release. And I always get a sense of relief when I cry. It's actually become a superpower of mine now to just get comfortable with the uncomfortableness of just crying, even if it's in public at this point. Heck, I found myself sitting crying on the couch watching football earlier today, surrounded by a bunch of dudes. And I was emotional and I was sad. And I needed to cry, so I did. And there's such a relief in just knowing that you're true enough to yourself to be able to do that and not be scared of what other people might think. And what you might just find is that they want to reach out and help you. They want to support you and give you a helping hand. So most people want to be useful and feel as though they can be of help to you. And it's a great, great honor to be able to show up for someone who needs it. And I love that my friends want to talk to me when they are down or if they want to share good news, no matter what it is, because having friends like that is a true blessing. And for them to want to share all of their vulnerable moments with me is definitely an honor. And I don't want to take away the honor that it is for my friends to be able to show up for me. So think about someone in your life, someone that you really want to honor with your trust. Honor them with your vulnerability and allow them to get to know you for who you really are. Allow them to see the things that you're ashamed of, the parts of you that you're trying to hide, the ones that you want to suppress because they're so emotional and they're so heavy to bear. So let them go. Just let it go. Talk to someone or talk to yourself out loud. Talk to God. Talk to the universe. Talk to a wall. See what happens. See what processes might actually get going in both you and everyone around you. You might just find that there's some incredible relief and solace on the other side of honesty, especially to yourself. Just let it go. If you want to come share your version of how your attachment style manifested itself in your love life, please email me on magsmindset@gmail.com. I can't wait to hear from you.